Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a long day for us, but we are here to talk some wrestling. I am your host for the Wrestling Underground podcast. Chad Porto joining me as always is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Doing okay. Back again.
Back again. IPW was this weekend, or this past Thursday, I should say. And it was, another rendition. They did a whole shtick where Santino Marella played a Ukrainian who killed Tim Burr's, who is Josh Alexander, Tim Burr's good friend Max Muscles or Mighty Max or Max something like that. I thought that may have been Brian Cage, but I couldn't find who that was.
It
But
was.
yeah, I'm sure it was somebody because that's too on the nose not to have been a past character. I think this is the third or maybe the fourth year they've done this. Marcus, do you like the IPWF?
Yeah, I think it's cool. Some offbeat, all kill to, like you said, they only do it like what, once a year now?
Yeah, at the end of the year usually.
That, and then you save us some, go off the beat path from the usual storylines, let the wrestlers kind of indulge in some chicanery, if you will, and creatively kind of just express themselves differently. And it's just something fun to do for the entirety of the roster and harken back to some old stuff and then maybe throw in a little new stuff, but it's very much a dedication and tribute to the classic days of Wrestling Federation.
And it is a nice throwback to the olden days. Let's see if I can't find some type of information via cage match. I don't think they're going to separate IPWF, but we know Josh Alexander's been in a few of them. It looks like they don't separate them. So, according to this, there's been four. This past one was IPWF Throwback Throwdown 4. So that should give us an idea. And we'll talk more about this here in a second. The big story, though, for the day that we're going to talk about is that one Kazuchika Okada is apparently ready to leave New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's currently in a six-man tag with Tanahashi and Tomohiro Ishii. I don't know if they've lost the belts, but they were as of a couple weeks ago IWGP Tag Team Champions, and if he does hit the open market, he's going to be arguably the most in-demand free agent since Will Ospreay, if not even more so. He's been with New Japan since 2007.
Mm.
He's been there for a long time. He had a short stint with TNA in 2008 or so, where he was known as Okada, if I remember correctly, a playoff of Kato. Not well received. I think it was 2010 to 2011. And the thing is, everyone's like, "Oh, how do you screw up Okada?" And listen, Okada's a decent wrestler. He's got great charisma, decent stamina, but he was never going to be anything like he was in New Japan and TNA. And it's not even booking. He was, what, 24, 25? He didn't have any name value to him. Yeah, I agree they didn't do right by New Japan with how they used him, but it was they're only going to be able to use him so well for so long. I think the ceiling on Okada in TNA in 2010 was, what was his name? Shota Umino, was he the one
Mm.
in TNA this year?
You and your some
Yeah, Human Yora. That's the ceiling. A lower card guy who fights for lower card titles. That's pretty much all you can
that's
expect. And I don't know right now if going forward, Okada's going to seriously consider TNA, but TNA has apparently thrown two, Marcus, seven-figure deals at CM Punk and Will Ospreay. I have to imagine they're going to do the same for Okada. And if you're Okada, you need to be paying attention with how Shinsuke Nakamura was used in WWE, which was not well. He's been there for like what, 6 years, 7 years. Like Nakamura's wasted most of his last few good years basically being a hanger-on and doing nothing of relevance until the last year or so. And then you look at Jay White in AEW, and he's a mid card act. If the idea is to get as much money as you can, I get going to AEW or WWE, but if a seven-figure deal is on the table from Impact, TNA, I don't know how you can not take it. I don't think he's going to end up in TNA. They lost out on two far more likelier guys in Will Ospreay and CM Punk. But Marcus, do you think Okada would do good work in TNA?
Yeah, I think he do great work in TNA. And to your earlier point about what I guess folks were saying about how you fumble the ball, like you just kind of made kind of answered this with a conversation we had on the last show about the systems with the two of the best QBs with Mahomes and Lamar. And we were having a Punk conversation, Punk versus Osprey situation. Like sometimes the system, sometimes a great performer don't work in certain systems, and sometimes vice versa with the systems to the performer. So like you said, the ceiling was just a lot higher in New Japan, and Okada reached those and shattered them and reached them again, and he's a legend over there. But like you said, he's been there since 2007. Sometimes you know some wrestlers just want to get new horizons. I think that's what had a lot to do with what Shinsuke did when he went to WWE. Also, I think obviously he wanted to hit those beaches and whatnot. So that was an appealing factor. But I think Okada would be great in Impact. It's just about whether or not he kind of if he wants to go. Some of them may look at a ladder and want to go to AEW. I don't think even with them now having kind of almost the Asian terrors, if you will, with Kyrie, with Asuka, and I'm blanking on her name. Um, Kyrie, Asuka, and
I'd like to help.
Io Scott did it.
Okay.
Yeah, Kyrie, Asuka, and Io in the same group. I don't necessarily know if that'll translate for Okada now, even with the new leadership. So, but you never know. I was hoping that we maybe Ospreay would have signed, but he went elsewhere. So I won't necessarily hold my breath. The seven-figure deal thing, it's kind of almost wild talking about that, considering all how wonky things were for years with the whole cash flow positive narrative. So I'm happy that they have the ability to throw seven-figure deals at guys. But I think another conversation that we had, maybe break that money down and get multiple talents that you can build upon, instead of kicking out all that cash to one person and hoping that they raise your tide to get you on par with everybody else. So I think he could do great, but do we know for sure if he's ultimately leaving Japan, or is just kind of up in the air with free agency right now?
I would have to hazard a guess of all the possibilities that he would be entertaining the move to the U.S., but I do not know for sure if he's looking at leaving Japan as a whole, because if he's content in Japan but he wants new challenges, All Japan and Noah could make a run for him, and I think those would also be huge gets. And considering what he could bring to another promotion, I think that would be a smart move. But it's going to be one of those situations where I think what he wants professionally will dictate where he goes. Because if he wants money, he'll probably end up in AEW or WWE. But if he wants to be the face of a promotion, wants to have big time matches with big time talents, and is willing to take a little bit less to be a guaranteed face of a franchise, I could see him in All Japan, Noah, TNA. I don't see him going to anyone else. Like I think likelihood will split the difference with WWE and AEW being the top dog. I think Noah is a low key second option, third option, and I think TNA is right after Noah, with All Japan being after that. I don't see another sixth promotion being involved. I don't think MLW has the resources to do it. I don't think NWA has the clout to pull it off. Um, so yeah, I think it's really down to just Noah, WWE, and AEW for new destinations, and I think New Japan could get back into the conversation if they throw enough money. Like this might just be a ploy, right? Like this might just be a ploy where he he's leveraging a bigger deal, and you know what? If it is, you know, more power to him. Go for it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. That's for sure. So yeah, where do you want Okada to land? Is there a place in mind where like, yeah, that's where I really want to see him go?
I mean, obviously, naturally and selfishly, I, want to pass through Impact, but you know, to something you just said, I don't know if I can also see him kind of. It'd be awkward to see him leave Japan, New Japan permanently. Obviously, he's a great visitor, as he's constantly done. I think he even passed through AEW either this year or last year. But in terms of a permanent move, like I said, I mean, to your point, Noah, like you said, All Japan could be really good against laterals. Like, I think AEW may be an unnecessary gamble, and like you said, NWA don't have the clout, and um, I don't think he's gonna go to AEW just to do something with Ring of Honor, unfortunately. But like I said, selfishly, I'll be Impact. But if he doesn't leave New Japan at all, I wouldn't be surprised. It might be one of those situations where that's where he's been this long, and that's kind of where he wants to kind of retire.
So we're going to be in for a very interesting early 2024. I think if he does wrap up, he'll wrap up Wrestle Kingdom, or maybe the next night after the New Japan Rush, I think is what it's called. So
Yeah.
after that, we should see some movement on what happens with Okada's future. So stay tuned. So we also got the fourth edition of the Impact Professional Wrestling Federation this year. For some reason, the first or the last three have links on Wikipedia, but not the first one, which is stupid. What